What's up, Addicts? I'm Michael.
And I'm Josh.
And today we're doing a baseball review, and I'm still pumped after two failed intros. So, we were talking about baseball. I haven't played much baseball in real life, and no one cares. It's a video game.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I used to play the show, the MLB The Show, I think was the title of the video game, and it was more of an arcadey, and you had like the career mode and stuff. This one is quite a bit different. It's more focused. It's kind of an arcade version of baseball. Yeah. You have an interesting pitching system and batting as well, and it's more team focused, so you can create teams, which we've had the pleasure of doing and playing against each other, both online and in person.
It's probably the best aspect of it.
Yeah, creating the characters is pretty great. You have not only can you customize the abilities, you can customize the characters, their names, and we have some pretty good team names.
It's like one of those where because I'll just tell you a quick story of this. I was playing it over at his house, and I was like, oh yeah, because it was free, if you guys didn't know, on Xbox, I think a couple months ago. And so I was like, okay, I'll go home. And we played it a couple times over line, and then I was like, I'm going to make a team. And then there was just one time we played, and he was like, what's this? I've never seen this team before. And he's like, that's gold. But his is the better team for sure. But it's a really fun game. I guess we'll go into some gameplay aspects, maybe have Michael go over some of the batting versus pitching.
Yeah, I've played probably 40-ish hours of that. Josh has played less, but still a significant amount.
I'd say about 20 hours or so.
Yeah. So the pitching aspects, you have each pitch that you have an accuracy meter. So you have like a junk stat, which I think that I don't know exactly how the stats work because they don't reveal it in game, but like the speed, obviously like how fast your pitch is going to be.
Yeah.
Then you have a junk stat, which is like for your curveballs, your screwballs, all the ones that move, your sliders as well. And then once you actually pitch, you select a pitch and you confirm it. Then while the pitch is like going towards that, you actually have to move your controller for the ball to actually be placed where you pitched it. So it is a little bit different in the sense that you can't just throw a pitch in the corner and it's going to be exactly there. Sometimes it's going to be in the strike zone, sometimes it's going to be out. And another gameplay aspect that we haven't talked about that actually makes the game super accessible is the ego system. So you have a system where the speed of the ball and both how hard it is to pitch, how hard it is to hit the ball, and how hard it is to actually catch for like fielding, all those systems are related directly to ego. So when we first started, I was probably playing on like 40 ego, and then I had my nephew come over. He's probably 8 years old, and I was having him play at like 10, 15 ego, and we could still play a competitive game because of that system.
Yeah, because it kind of serves as a difficulty setting, but it doesn't limit the whole party playing. It's very individual, so it's a good way to, like Michael said, counteract different skill sets or skill levels, especially if you're playing with 4 people where you might have one team that's really experienced versus somebody that's just starting. So
yeah, and it's individual. You can actually now, with the update that they had recently, you can like turn down batting. If you're good at pitching, you can turn up pitching and then fielding. Yeah. The interesting thing about fielding is in other baseball games you have like a little circle where you know where ball's gonna be. In this one you kind of have to just tell by the shadow.
Yeah. It
gives you some hints. On low egos, if it's like a pop fly, it'll just your character will just move and catch the ball. But on high egos you have to do everything.
Yeah, it's really weird too because this game, like Michael said, it's more of a arcadey cartoon take on baseball. So there's some elements where it's, I guess, not realistic in the sense, like, for instance, like the character models is just one instance of that. But what's really cool is, like Michael was saying, how it has a shadow and everything. That's actually one system that's really realistic, and that's probably even better than some of the first-tier baseball games.
Yeah, I would think more of I like the fielding system. It takes a while to get used to, and sometimes you just miss the ball and you feel like, you don't feel cheated, but you feel like, wow, that was dumb, I should have got that.
Yeah.
But also, another interesting element they have is Mojo, where they have, basically, based on what you're doing, you will either have higher stats or lower stats. You'll be faster or slower, and that's obviously not realistic, but it's a very
it's like a confidence meter.
Yeah, it's like a confidence meter in a sense, but so your players can get really fast or slow. The same thing can happen to injuries, which we do encounter quite a few injuries in our playthroughs.
Sometimes it can be intentional too, which is a funny aspect. Because you can throw. Because I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of the other baseball games, like MLB or something like that, has where you can actually pitch it to the player and actually hit them.
I don't know if they have that system.
In this, if you really want to, you can beanball somebody to make them walk, if that's what you want, or if you just want
and
to
even the title of the memories or the injuries are great.
Yeah,
it's like we've hit a pitcher in the head with once from a batting, he hit the ball and it hit him right in the head. And I think it's like memory loss was his injury.
Some, depending on the injury, they have different tiers. They don't really explain how the tiers work in injuries, but some can just lower their mojo. Some can make it to where they don't run as fast, and then some it can damage their whole stats, which is a pretty interesting aspect depending on where you get hit.
Yeah. So the other mode that we haven't talked about that I've played, I don't know if Josh has played. We haven't played much online, just because this is the arcade
against
game.
Other people,
against other competitive online. But the season mode, which both the ego, having your ego up and down across the season, you can upgrade it if you feel like it's too easy, put it down if it's too hard. Not only that, but throughout the season, your players will get minor injuries. Mm-hmm. And then, I played probably 20 games in the season, and sometimes my mojo would be so bad that I'm like, well, I might as well sub him out because he's I don't remember what the terms are, but he's broken down and he can't hit. His confidence is in the toilet, so I got to substitute.
He's shook.
Yeah, he's shook. I don't even remember what all those titles are. On Fire, I think, is the top one. But yeah, so you can have good mojo and bad mojo based on how you're playing across the season, and then you have certain players, even the catcher gets injured more often because he's the catcher.
Right.
So that season element, that was a lot of fun. I did have to cheat a little bit because I was losing in the playoffs.
That's one cool thing about this game is that there's a lot of different modes. So if you want to do more of a one-on-one, or if you want to do a tournament type style, you can. And I believe when you do seasons, does it carry over if you want to do a second season?
Yeah, I don't know if the stats carry over, but you can. I know you can start a new season with the same. I don't know if your stats carry over, actually. I don't know if they've implemented that. But they do have season stats on it, comprehensive stats, which are cool to look at. And, I really like that system. And, you can change ego mid-game. So I have done it a couple times where the ego's either too high or too low, and I'm just I need to crank up the ego. And playing at 99 ego, I've played for 40 hours, and I still can't really do it. I can probably play 70, 75.
I think it's more fun when you play with other people. On the ego, because the one of the downfalls that I've kind of seen a couple times is when you're playing against the AI, it is really unfair. It's not even a joke. Because there was one game where me and Michael played, and we were playing against the computer, and it went 40 or 50 to it was 50 to 1 or something like that, something crazy, and it was only on the 4th or 5th inning, and it was this is insane because it catches anything no matter what. And now granted, we were on a little bit higher ego, we were on I think 60 or 70, somewhere around there, but even then saying I couldn't imagine what it'd be on 99. So there's times where the AI is a little bit too good. You can even see the game. It seems like the game kind of breaks a little bit, and it's just yeah, I caught that no matter what. But that's something that they've been doing updates to kind of fix that. And so some of those might be gone, or some you may not experience.
The other thing is the pitching and the batting is less interesting couch co-op. Online, it's really fun when Josh and I play online because I can't see where he's aiming the pitches. Mm-hmm. But in person, when we're playing couch co-op, there's not a layer of complexity because you kind of know where the ball's going to go.
Yeah. You can't hide what pitches that you're throwing, but I mean, for somebody that's watched baseball or has played baseball, I'm sure it's really easy to look. Because I know, Michael, just the little bit he's played, sometimes he can tell by the windup of the pitch what it's going to be. And as for me, I have no clue because I'm not a baseball person at all. So that's something that makes it a little bit too easy if you do have real life experience with baseball and you're doing couch co-op.
But I really like the online co-op system, and I've liked the season. The player creation is a lot of fun. You can go in there and create teams.
There is. It's now the actual character models. It's a little bit limited, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's like even
it's only like 10 or 12,
faces and like faces, hairstyles,
which is fine because it is more of like an arcade style, so it makes sense why there wouldn't be a ton of options. But that is something that's like, since it is one of the best aspects of the game, it was a little bit disappointing. But they still make up for it in other areas. Like you can go real in depth with designing the jerseys.
Yeah, I love that part. The logos.
Yeah, like I made one that nowhere near. I just made it out of shapes. The Garys, the one. Yeah, I made that completely out of shapes, and it actually looks pretty spot on to what I wanted it to look. So you can get pretty creative with that if you really want to.
Yeah, they do have a lot of freedom and customization, and not only is it your logo, but you also have it on your jerseys, which is a nice touch.
And you can change it up however you want to. So that's a cool thing. Overall, I think, is there any other bases? I can't think of any.
Bases. The stealing system is kind of... I wouldn't say it's arbitrary, but sometimes even against the AI, if you have a fast runner, I think that needs to be nerfed. They've solved that a little bit with the AI because sometimes they'll like recognize that you're stealing, so they'll like throw the pitch outside so that the pitcher can or the catcher can get it and then throw it to second or whatever. So they have solved that a little bit. But when I was playing my season, I probably got like 5 steals a game just because my players are fast.
Yeah. I think the stats when you're making teams and stuff, I really doubt how much they actually impact some of the performance of your players. Now you can see it with pitching. And you can see it with like the catchers, but in terms of like the base, like the base people. I'm sorry,
the base running or
not
the fielding, running. Like the fielding.
Yeah, like the people on the bases that come from. Like that is sometime like it doesn't really seem like it adds much because, for instance, I made a team that had 99 stats all across the board just because I wanted a funny one that was all good. And so going up against like Michael's team that's relatively balanced, maybe more on the higher, like above average stats, you would think that if I played a lower ego than him, I would completely wreck. And in essence, like in some things I can do like better than his players, but like for instance, he can still easily take me out to first base. Like if I can't even get to first base, even though I have 99 speed.
Like on grounders and stuff.
Yeah. And then there's some cases where like I'll be playing the exact same team, but I'll be doing the fielding and he'll get past me like no problem. Now granted, my fielding's a little bit better, but it's still, I feel like something doesn't calculate quite right. And I don't know if that's necessarily that you just can't notice it or tell the difference, or if it, is actually something that's not as balanced when you do those things. But that's more of a minor thing. It's nice to mix it up so it's not exactly determinate, So it is one of those things where it's like, it might be a mix-up or it might be a flaw in the game in terms of like running, but in terms of how actually it, comes about when you're playing, it can be a fun.
And then you have another exploit with AI where you can steal second. If you have a man on first and third, you can steal second and then go home and you get a run every time. So
exactly. We got Tipmaster over here.
Yeah. Cheats, hacks. You got to win a game 1-0 sometimes.
Yeah.
But we can get straight to our rating and recommendation. This is a fun game to play with people that are introducing them to video games. Maybe like 7, 8, even 6 years old. I've played with them because of the low ego. You can just have them like join in on one team or another and jump right into the game.
Mm-hmm. I personally really like it just because as things progress, like technology and everything like that, a lot of game companies are wanting to go more to where if you want to play with other people, you have to do online. And I really like how it does have that feature, but it does have a feature that's couch co-op, which even though, like we said, there is some elements to it that may be inferior to the online component, I like it a lot that they give you that because I think that's one of the things that situations where you would play this game the most, right, is with other people and probably when they're over here, or when you have a group of people together. And so for me, that's what, in terms of that, I really like it as a couch co-op.
Yeah, if I had to give my rating for this, I'd probably give it a high gotta have it. I think it's, I bought it for free, but I think it's definitely worth the cost of admission. I like the game. It's something you can always go back to. If you want to play the season mode, you have. I mean, it's a baseball game. You're not going to have a story unless Some games do.
Something.
But it's a good game to play when friends are over. It's a good game to. It's enjoyable, and you still learn. Even though I've been playing for 40 hours, I'm not playing at 99 ego. And I assume if I wanted to play for 300, I probably could learn too. But
I would consider it worth it for me, like a high tier worth it, just because there's. I mean, that's mainly from like personal preference because I'm not that much into sports. But if you are a sports guy, I would say it's more along the lines of how Michael rated it, just because for the type of game it is, it's really good. As comparing it to maybe some other games, I don't know. There might be some ones out there that are better that are sports related. But it's really fun, it's really addictive, and it's something that, you can have endless time with. Replay value is everywhere with this game.
Yeah, and it's a good game to introduce to people if, they're sports people and they don't like gaming or they haven't had much experience gaming.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's its charm, because since it's more arcadey, for somebody like me, I find it more enticing when it doesn't try to take itself too seriously, when you can actually injure people, when you can actually, have this element of comedy or, some really goofy moments in the gameplay.
So many.
Yeah, and so that's, it makes it one of the funnest sports games, just because it does that. But that's all we got to say about this one. Be sure to check out our other stuff. We got more reviews coming. We got some more gaming stuff, too, that we're going to bring forward, as well as our shows and comics and stuff like that. So stay tuned for more. You can follow us on social media and on SoundCloud, as we got more content coming that way too. So anyway, guys, we'll see you later. Later, Alex.
Later.